Hey guys, it's Miss Katz again, and today we're going to go over the answers to page 5 in your MSG. This is how I chose to solve these problems and how you can best prepare yourself for your test in Unit 2. So we're going to start with question number 14. PBIS Middle School held a car wash as a fundraiser. Out of the 50 vehicles that were washed, so it's the total number of vehicles that they washed, 15 of them were trucks, and we need to know what percentage were actually trucks. So again, just to refresh your memory, it's always that part to whole will equal the percent out of 100. Okay, and so we want to see what pieces we have. Now, in this percent proportion, we always have 100. That's always given. If we're given any two of the other pieces, we can always find the third. That's the way this works. So what's the only piece that I wasn't given here? I wasn't given the percentage. That's the part we're going to leave blank. We're going to fill in everything else. So based on what it said here, 50 vehicles were washed. That's our whole number of vehicles. And of them, 15 happened to be trucks. That will equal whatever the percentage is out of 100. Well, let's take a look and see if we can figure out how we got from one to the next using that proportion. How did I get from 50 to 100? I multiplied by 2. Whatever I do on the bottom, I have to also do on the top to keep these fractions, these ratios, equivalent. And 15 times 2 is 30. So 30% were trucks. The graph below on question number 15 compares cups to pints. Which of the following ordered pairs would also satisfy this relationship? So what it's showing here is for every 2 cups, I don't know if you guys can see those dots real well here, so I'm going to fill them in for you. For every 2 cups, I get 1 pint. That's what this says. So for 6 cups, I get 3 pints. So we're looking for a relationship that's about half. So if I get 1 cup, remember the first thing right to left, okay, right to left, it would be cups, and pints would be up or down, and in this case they're up, okay? And always goes first, left to right first. This is going to be left first and up second. Left first, up second. In every case, that's how we graph these ordered pairs. So let's take a look. Over 2, up 1. That means 2 cups, 1 pint. So you would expect that 4 cups would then have 2 pints. 6 cups has 3 pints. 8 cups has 4 pints. And if you notice, this makes a straight line because it's a linear relationship. As one goes up, the other one goes up the same amount. So let's take a look at what we've got. If we go over 1, up 2, does that fit into this particular line? No, that would not fit. If we go over 2 and up 4, does that fit this particular equation? Nope, or this situation. If we go up 2, over 2 and up 0, that does not seem to be on this line. But if we go over 4 and up 2, there it is. So D is the correct answer. All right, question number 16. Michael's paycheck last week was $146.50. He would like to put 20% of his earnings in savings account. How much money should he put in his savings account? All right, for some reason this printed a little wonky, but this should be a 2 here, a 2 here, a 0 here, and a 7 here. So you can ignore these once I've done that. All right, this is an example that we could do a lot of different ways, and I'm going to show you 2 different ways that we did in class. First, let's just simply make that 20% into a decimal, and then we can use that to figure it out. Because we want to know what 20% of his earnings is. Of always means multiply. So we're going to take 146.50, and we're going to multiply it times 20%. Remember that 20% equals 20 hundredths, or 2/10 as a decimal. And we talked about that in class because 20% is 20 out of 100, which we know because every percentage is out of 100. And if you can say this correctly, this is 20 hundredths. Well, guess what? That is 20 hundredths as well. So we're going to multiply times this. And again, you do not need to include that extra 0. We could use it as 2/10, but I just want to be consistent. So I'm going to put a 0 because we're not when you multiply through this whole first row, you're going to get a 0. And I got to move over. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 5 is 10. 12, that's 13. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 2 times 1 is 2. Now, we're going to count all the places after decimals in our problem. There's 4, so we move it 4 places. So it'll be 2930. And if you look, that is answer choice C. Now, there was another way that we were taught to do this in class. So I'm going to go over that way as well. 146.50 equals 100% of the money that he got in his paycheck. We can use our powers of estimation and our powers of understanding what a percentage is to figure out what 10% is and what 1% is. So let's do that. 10% of this moves the decimal one place over. So that's 1465. And 1% of this moves the decimal one more place. So that would be 1465. Okay? Now, to get 20% from these denominations, 10% plus 10% will equal the 20% I'm looking for. So let's make these match. 10% is represented by 1465. That will equal our 20%. So let's do that. When we add, we get 2930. Same answer that we got before, just a different way to look at it. Either way is totally correct. Either way works really well. I'm going to flip this paper over so we have a little bit more room to work. Question number 17 says that the price of 4 different water bottles or different bottles of lotion are given in the table. And we want to know which one is the best value. So we need a unit rate. So I want to know how much per ounce. So I'm going to take that $4.50 and divide it by 25 ounces. That way I can figure out how much for 1 ounce. Now, if you're trying to figure out how to set this up, we can set up a proportion as well, but I'll come back to that in a second. So here the decimal rises to the top and 25 goes into 45 once. When we subtract, we get 20 and we bring down the 0. 25 goes into 100 8 times. So I know that the price per ounce is 18 cents per ounce. Now let's check the 15-ounce bottle. We take the $1.80 that it costs and we divide it by 15. Remember to put your decimal up, that's a big difference. 15 goes into 18 once, and 15 goes into 30 twice. So this will be 12 cents per ounce. So which one is the better buy? The 15-ounce bottle. It's a lot cheaper per ounce. Now if you're struggling with remembering how to divide these guys, let's take a look at that. If it's $4.50 for 25 ounces, and I want to know how much for 1 ounce, this is the thing I don't know. How did I get from 25 to 1? I divided by 25. So we have to do the same thing on top. That can be your reminder as to which way to set it up, which one's your divisor, which one's your dividend. All right, and question number 18. If driving at a constant speed, she drove 240 miles in 6 hours. I want to know how far she would drive in 1 hour and 15, or in 1 hour, and then again in 15 hours. So let's take a look. If it's 240 miles in 6 hours, if we take that 240 and divide it by 6, we'll find out how much for 1 hour. 6 goes into 24 4 times. Don't forget to bring the 0 down, and if you bring a number down, you have to bring 1 up. So in this particular case, she drove 40 miles per hour. So in 1 hour, she would have driven 40 miles. To find out in 15, we would just multiply. 15 times 40. Oops. She will have driven 600 miles in 15 hours. All right, and then the last question, I know it kind of got a little wonky when I printed here, and I'm not sure why, but these are your answer choices. This must be answer choice D. Chompers is 76 centimeters long. We want to know how many millimeters this is. All right, so again, if we know that there are, and this conversion rate was in your MSG, there are 10 millimeters in a centimeter, okay? This conversion rate should have been your MSG, I'm just double checking. But there are 10 millimeters in a centimeter. So basically, it's 10 times this, which will be this answer right here. 76 times 10, 0, 6, 7. And that's how many millimeters. I hope this helps you guys prepare for your test, and I hope you rock it out when you take your Unit 2 test next week.